All right, today I want to talk about benefits, obvious benefits, and benefits that are obviously not obvious. Um, the change in one set of benefits is dependent on the other individual, this individual's level of intelligence or specific store of knowledge. Depending on that, what you offer to them can be obviously beneficial or non obviously beneficial. And this will affect the relationship and how much the relationship is valued. So, a good example would be the relationship between a child and a parent. As a child, the child views the parent um, or the parent's behavior in a sort of negative light because the benefits are not obvious to that child. The benefits of being in that relationship, of having that parent, is not obvious to that child. And it's not obvious because of differences in intelligence, in specific bank of knowledge. Now, of course, some children can grasp it, but most tend to not be able to grasp this. And so, preteen, teenagers usually tend to rebel against parents because they're not able to grasp. They can attempt to grasp. There's the action of grasping, but there's the inability to grasp. Now, when you're 4 years old or when you're 2 years old, you're not even able to grasp, to attempt to grasp. So, little kids, 1 years old, there's no conflict. But later on, there comes conflict. And then in adulthood, conflict subsides and there comes an understanding of the value that the relationship between parent and child had provided, in that child's life. So with that example, the essential idea has been communicated. And I want to communicate this idea because it is inefficient. And since it's inefficient, it's not in your best interest to um, to lean on, expecting that others are going to value the relationship with you or value what you're doing for them because they might not be able to see the value. So, of course, you can do good things for society, but to expect recognition, appreciation, that is dependent on whether the people you have um, who you're trying to offer um, beneficial acts to, whether they're able to comprehend what you've done, comprehend it enough to appreciate what you've done. Maybe they might not comprehend it in the moment, and maybe they might comprehend it later. But it's possible that they may never comprehend it in your lifetime, in their lifetime. And committing energy to aiding people and having no profit, social, economic, no profit from your actions um, can be a turnoff, which would lead to, no longer offering those benefits, which would probably be probably be a negative for both you and those individuals. Because signals, which is appreciation, appreciation is a signal that communicates that what we've put out has hit home. Without that signal, we instinctively refuse to continue on with an action because our brain, the instinctive, the instinctive ideas, the instinctive thoughts that we have, it tells us that without these signals, we're wasting our energy, and wasting our energy is not good. But that is not the case. We're not wasting our energy. We're we're just expecting the wrong thing because we're not appreciating who we're talking to. So to go around to go around the world, the best way to go around the world is to appreciate who you're talking to, appreciate who you're interacting with, and contour your behavior appropriately so that wasting you're not wasting energy uh, waiting for appreciation. You're not wasting emotional energy, financial energy, um, because your words can fall on deaf ears. Your actions can fall on deaf ears, figuratively, and obviously that should be avoided. So we have to appreciate who we're talking with and who we're acting in relation to conserve emotional, physical, and financial energy. Because otherwise, we're exuding knowledge that is left to rot on the ground. We're exuding actions that are left to rot on the ground. And that's not good for anybody. We have to exude what can be absorbed by whoever is around us, whatever is around us. You're not going to use a copper blade to saw a piece of titanium. That's a waste of time. That's a waste of energy. That's a waste of money. You're going to use the proper item to do that. You're going to use a diamond tip blade to do that. So we must use the proper, uh, yes, I guess, protocols so that we're not wasting time, energy, and money, which, as I said, benefits nobody. Now, I don't understand why there's this tendency to be wasteful. I guess the human mind, because the human mind was developed to exist in a village setting, the human mind is not expecting a wide variety in intelligence. It's expecting everybody to have more or less the same level of intelligence. But that's not the case in a multicultural society, a city. That's definitely not the case. You're interacting with people worth, you know, money, sums of money that you could never hope to earn in your life. And you're working alongside other people who look at you the same way. So, assuming that you have one tool, one protocol, and it can address everybody in a room, in a city, would be a silly move. It takes time to figure out a way to efficiently address people and problems. It's better if you instinctively go about assuming, in terms of energy, in terms of uh, energy expended um, short term, it's better to go about assuming that you can address everyone in the same way. But long term, it it's problematic because you will need long term solutions. Without these long term solutions, you'll have long term problems. So if you don't find the right way to address problems and people, you have long term problems with people. And those problems that you're tackling will persist for a long time. So you have to figure out how to address whether what we're addressing is responding to our solution. Now, there would be a temptation to feel a sense of superiority in those that issue solutions that are not easily digested by the masses. I believe that to be good, you have to be palatable. If you invent a rocket ship, but you're a caveman and you can't communicate to other cavemen the importance of that rocket ship, um, you are fucked and you just wasted a shitload of energy. And ultimately, you're retarded. So it is not those that are seemingly below you in terms of being able to come up with solutions may over time be better than you because their solutions are easily applicable. Their solutions are adopted. Their solutions populate shelves, populate homes, while your solution is rotting away. So the complexity, the degree at which the solution addresses the problem, that is irrelevant if the solution cannot be adopted. The solution being adopted, how easily it can be adopted, how easily it can be appreciated, is a portion of the package. The entire package is graded. The mechanics, the materials, and how applicable the solution is. Altogether is graded. And if there isn't a passing grade, if there isn't a passing grade, then the solution has failed. And that is not something to feel superior about. Now, there are some solutions that do not need to be addressed to the wider masses. Now, those solutions can be realistically um, indigestible to the wider masses because they're not intended for the wider masses. They're intended for a group that has superior intellect. And because of the superior intellect of that group, it is sensible to offer such a solution. It is sensible to offer such a complete solution. The benefits of greater intelligence within a group, within the average, is that with greater intelligence comes greater solutions. The solution is better at addressing the issue because less energy is spent allowing the individual user to comprehend and appreciate the solution and to wield the solution. If the user cannot wield the solution, it cannot be applied. If they can understand it, it cannot be applied. And so those are important aspects. And those take energy and those take time away from the actual solving how well the solution can solve the problem. So with the more intelligent groups, although the group is smaller, we can have better solutions. We can solve our problems better. With a smaller group, with the less intelligent groups, we do a piss poor job. Relative to the smaller group, we do a piss poor job at solving solutions. We can address fewer problems, and we can address those problems less well. A solution is an easily digestible thought. It is like a hamburger. It is the fast food meal of the thought world. It is something that was created so that it is easily grasped and it addresses the problem. A hamburger is not merely a meal. It exists because it is easy to make, it is cheap to make, and it can be made in mass quantities. This is the fast food meal. The fast food meal is not simply the hamburger or the fries. It is the ease at which it can be made. It is the ease at which it can be consumed. That is the actual selling point for a fast food item. It is not whether it is delicious or not. It is not whether it smells great or not. It's the ease at which it can be processed, made, and consumed and bought. So it is cheap, you can get it quickly, and anybody with a basic level of intelligence can make one. And a solution is no different than that. And so there are compromises, just like the hamburger from McDonald's. There's compromises within the solution. So the McDonald's hamburger doesn't taste nearly as good as a homemade hamburger. It isn't nearly as wholesome as a homemade hamburger, but it's much faster to make. It is much cheaper and it probably takes less time to digest one since the compounds, the, 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 the mixture is probably a pretty simple mixture. So it is easy in almost every sense of the way, and it does a okay job of giving you nutrition. It is an okay job of that. Not a good job, not a spectacular job, just an okay job. It doesn't kill you, and that's good. That's not what is exactly what it's selling. It's selling ease, and the solution also sells ease. The solution sells an easy way to address a problem. Someone else comes up with the solution, and pretty soon after, everybody and their mother is using that solution. Now, they did not go on the journey to arrive at the solution. They probably don't even fully comprehend what the solution they're applying to the problem does. They've adopted it because of that inability, because of that inability to understand, physics, sociology, whatever. This is why people are adopting ideas from one another, adopting solutions from one another. So, if individuals are after, if the mass is after a certain type of product, it would not be sensible to offer them a four-course meal with um, farm fresh items. It would not be sensible because one, that would be expensive. Two, you don't know if this um, complex meal can be consumed by most people. You don't know if they would like the taste of that meal. So with a complex and expensive meal, you're making a bet. You're making a bet that they, the masses, are not after the equivalent of a cheeseburger. But they probably are after the equivalent of a cheeseburger from a fast food restaurant. And there's nothing wrong with that. It is sensible for them to pursue that which is easily grasped. It is sensible for them to appreciate what is easy to grasp. There isn't a need to obliterate problems. There's a need to address problems enough so that the problem doesn't override everything else. And once you have solutions that prevent problems from overriding everything else, this gives space to solution that allows it to, um, for instance, for the cheeseburger that you bought at McDonald's to taste like crap or taste sort of like crap, relative to a homemade cheeseburger. It allows it to be greasy and soggy because it does its job. It addresses the solution, it addresses the problem, your hunger, enough to prevent it from being an overriding problem. And once it does that, it can be greasy and soggy. It can taste like uh, like paper because it does its job. And solutions, ideas, are just the same. slogans, talking points, they are the exact same. People are after what is easy, what is cheap, what does a decent job. And so slogans are easy to grasp. Talking points don't require a lot of mental effort. And slogans and talking points and solutions to your problems do a good job of hitting your political opponents in the mouth or um, stopping you from being a nihilist. Just barely, but it does the job. The sweet spot is what the solution has to hit. The cheeseburger has to hit the sweet spot of cost to make, hours needed to train employees, and a price that gets customers in the door, and a taste that is acceptable. It has to hit that sweet spot. It has to get as close to the middle, the midpoint that separates all those other points as possible. And this means mediocrity for all those other points: taste, cost, whatever. But it means when it hits that middle point, when it hits that sweet spot, that means that it can easily be grasped by the public. And that has value. That ease has value because everyone, just like all the corporations, are making cost benefit analysis um, every day. They're looking at which orange to buy, which orange is cheaper, which cheeseburger is cheaper, which solution is cheaper for me to grasp and apply. What is easier? That is what is it that is what everybody is seeking out because it is the sensible thing to do. Wasting time is not the sensible thing to do. And pretending like individuals are not in possession of that concept is not the sensible thing to do. Everything from your goldfish to a space alien that's a billion times smarter than you will appreciate solutions that hit a sweet spot, not solutions that perfectly address a problem, but you would need a supercomputer to wield yourself. Solutions that are economical in terms of social energy, financial wealth, of time, emotional energy. Solutions that respect that respect those important pillars. Those are the solutions that are smart, that are sensible, that individuals should have pride in.